Hi, everybody. It's Bob Rivers here, and it's coming up on Thanksgiving. And I'm coming at you from Waikiki Beach in Honolulu, Hawaii, which is, this is where I was born. And it seemed like a good place for Thanksgiving. And some of you may know I went through a horrendous surgery and was sort of out of the loop for a little while. Came back and did a quick podcast with Andrew Rivers, my son, the day after the election, when he bet and lost $15,000 that Kamala Harris would win the election. He got sucked into an online betting app. And so we had some counseling for that. But the person who probably most needs the biggest hug, the biggest consoling that I know post-election, and one of my favorite Thanksgiving people in the world, because I'm so thankful he's in my life, is Spike O'Neill. Let's do a quick pop-up podcast with Spike. Welcome, Spike.
Hey, Bob. Hey, buddy. How are you?
You know, I'm good. I'm happy to be here. I timed this. I took my oxycodone 20 minutes ago. So I might feel okay. It's okay. I have a prescription. I'm feeling pretty good, but I've been thinking about you and all that you're going through. And, you're working hard. You've got a new partner on your radio show.
I do. Jake Skorheim, conservative American.
He's conservative. Well, by the way, I like that Cairo does that. I like that it's not, all Sean Hannity or all one way or the other. I like that there's discussion. I have not heard him yet because I wanted to wait a little while to give you guys a chance to gel. But you go back on the air next week, right?
Next week's weird. Well, I'll work early in the week and then take off for the Thanksgiving holiday. So, yeah.
Oh, this coming week. Yeah. But I mean, after December 1st, you'll be back.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That's straight on through Christmas.
So just between you and me, how's this new guy working out?
He's great. He doesn't, he may see this. He's wonderful, Bob. Calm, cool, collected. No, he doesn't like to ignore, he likes to use hyperbole, which is great. It's entertaining. But he likes to exaggerate and try to make his point and discount mine. And we're finding our mechanisms for engaging each other and having spirited disagreements that are resolution oriented. We hope that's our goal.
One of the things I love about talking to you now is I don't think we disagree about anything anymore. Do we?
I don't know that we do. You're a lot calmer and you're a lot more even keeled than I am. I tend to be a hair on fire kind of guy about how I view things and how I view potential danger or whatever, however you may want to frame the next 4 years. Promise and opportunity. Who knows?
Yeah.
I tend to still get a little emotional because I got skin in the game, and I raised two young pieces of skin, and they're in the game now. So,
Yeah, and this I've gotten more calm than I used to be.
Yeah. With age comes wisdom, right? Is it the oxy talking?
No,
I don't know.
Wait about 20 minutes.
Okay. When I see you start to do this in the camera, I'll know that we're running out of time.
What I thought might be interesting is, first of all, I don't think the same way I did a month ago about this stuff. And a month ago, I didn't think the same way anybody thought. Because it's become my view, but I'm very calm about it. And part of my view now is, okay, being harshly critical of people and calling them stupid, how did that work out?
It didn't work out well, but it doesn't make them any less stupid. So I mean you.
We're calling the liberals stupid too, remember?
Yeah.
Everybody was calling everybody stupid. So let's take us all as a collective species of humanity, trying to govern, trying to have a civilization when we're really tribal our history in recent human history, only a few tens of thousands of years ago, was
Yeah.
that the people who could kill the most of their enemies were the smartest people, right? And the
Yeah.
people, yeah, and the people, and they also got the cheerleaders or whatever the her cheerleader was back then. And so I just I think of the world and humanity and society differently, because I don't know if everybody knows this, but I'm like Valerie Harper. I shouldn't still have been here this long after my diagnosis 3 years ago. And so
Yeah.
I have skin in the game, but not the way you do. Like you're going to actually live in this world now. But to me, it's like a TV show. And you know what I mean? I've told you that before, right?
Yeah. But for me, it's like my kids are on the show, and the show's turning into Squid Game. So I care how the rules are going.
And I hear you, and I think that it just seems that humanity, and you take away politics for a second, but just break it down to, as we've watched life evolve and civilization evolve, it's gotten less personal, more about profits, more about corporate. I don't want to say corporate greed, because that's like saying, a caterpillar has fuzzy hair. It's supposed to have fuzzy hair. Corporations are supposed to try to make money, but we now live in this global world where we're being told it's all about just local, and yet there's some things that, to me, nobody is really talking about that are the bigger things that are happening.
Like what? Like what? Well, I'm intrigued by this.
Okay, we're at war in different ways than we used to be at war in the past. When you and I were kids, they called it the Cold War. Remember, we weren't fighting with Russia.
Right.
It was our enemy, and it was a Cold War. And I never really understood what Cold War meant. I guess it was like, we're going to beat you in business. We're going to, tariffs, or all these things that we're going to do that aren't going to be dropping bombs on Russia, right?
Yeah. The confrontation without bullets.
Confrontation without bullets. And now we've evolved so that we fight proxy wars. It's almost like Putin is at one chess table, and whether it be Biden or Kamala Harris or whoever, Donald Trump, is at the other chess table. And it's like, how can we win in this battle for supremacy economically, power, because the ego of leaders is fed by power. I mean, I know that Biden's kind of like your guy, but the fact that he didn't voluntarily step down, to me, destroyed a lot of credibility. And I felt like, okay, so what's fake? Like there's fake stuff. I know this is both sidesism and you hate that, but instead of calling it fake or truth or lies, I want to go back to, I think, what the lead singer of The Doors, a gentleman who died way too young at 28 years old, used to talk about: he who controls the media, controls the narrative, controls the world. And everything is a narrative. So the narrative is whatever the hit record of talking is right now. Like when you have a hit record, and American Pie was a huge hit record, it played constantly.
Right.
And if you have a record called I Ain't Woke, it got played constantly on half of the outlets. And then, if you have a record that says I Want to Be an Evil Dictator, which would be a great song, by the way, you should write it. None of these are literally true. You follow me so far on that?
I do. I think the only caveat I would add to that is we used to be getting one message. Maybe not exclusively, but the vast majority of Americans were being played the same hit record. Now we're getting completely different. The sky is green from one channel.
So there used to be a news station, a classic rock station, and a country station, and now there's a Pizzagate station where a pedophile ring it exists, and there's every kind of station. In other words, just like everything in media, there's a zillion choices now, and it's confusing.
Well, even the choices that I like or I trust, I should say, used to be trustworthy, and I don't know that anybody can lay claim to that anymore. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big step for me because I'll give you an example. Me and my new partner, Jake, every time we talk about media, Jake's fallback position is, well, you shouldn't have called, everybody kept calling him Hitler. Everybody kept calling him a Nazi. And that's the hyperbole overreach that discounts the fact that people were calling him a fascist.
Yeah. Anytime you hear the word everybody, nobody, always, or never, it's hyperbole. I totally,
completely. And you step right past, is he a fascist? So, well, no, he's not gassing 6 million people, so we're all full of crap. And it completely discounts the genuine. I
just had to do the sign of the cross on that one. Go ahead.
I hear. Oh, sorry. I really cleaned that up too. So that's where I get into trouble is that people discount the genuine, valid concerns when they reach for the he's not doing this, and you guys keep calling him Hitler and nobody like that. Yeah. So that's where I get the most frustrated is people step past the, even my side does it too. And but I think that drove a lot of the, we had a big discussion this week about people getting their news from social media. One in five people get all their news from social media, from completely unvetted, if not invalid sources. Yeah. And that was enough to drive a close election.
The web tech media, which doesn't have any rules of having to be accurate, because it's opinion, and because, like the phone company, they're not responsible if a cartel uses the phone company and makes a phone call to blow up a bomb. They have no responsibility for the content, and yet they've hijacked the entire idea of media, and they are the primary source of content for which they have no responsibility.
I know.
That's something you and I could agree on all day. Yeah. And I think that eventually that's going to have to, like right now, Russia and Europe are both trying to break up Google. And Google is such a monopoly that they're going to be dismantled to some degree because they have too much power. And this is what it comes down to, power and narrative.
Agreed.
So I am going to get out of, I hope, the standard way of talking about this. We used to call this me playing devil's advocate. And I'm going to suggest, much like the talking heads would say, that even though everything seems different now, a lot of it is the same as it ever was. Mm-hmm. So to that end, I've been enjoying more nostalgia, which is something you should do in the sunset of your life. It's actually
Why wait? Do it now.
You can do it now. Nostalgia is healthy, and when you look at nostalgia, if you actually have a record of it, it's not exactly how you remembered it. So, for example, we think that newscasters used to be integrity. They didn't take a side. They just reported the news. Mm-hmm. And yet, and I want to recommend everybody do this. Lisa and I just watched the new Martha Stewart documentary. Have you seen it?
I have.
And in this documentary, you watch those kind news people that we remember as being fair, whether they be 60 Minutes or Oprah or several others in the show, first build up Martha Stewart as being this genius woman who makes everyday housewives feel powerful because they can make a beautiful home on a budget, right? And she makes the deal with Kmart. And then as she gets hit by the Wall Street establishment who doesn't like the idea of a powerful woman who's a billionaire. Martha Stewart was the first self-made female billionaire on the planet, according to this documentary. And I believe documentaries more than I believe any cable news channel.
That's a fact.
And then, some of this is very subtle, and then they show Oprah ripping her apart, saying that she set a standard that women can't live up to and that she's hurting women's lives. And then they go to 60 Minutes doing an expose, calling her the Queen of Mean or whatever. They had a nickname for her. I might have stolen that from someone else. They were trashing. But I looked at that and I went, oh, that's just like Fox News and MSNBC. It just wasn't about politics. And so my observation now is, and this was happening the last few days before the election, is like, holy shit, politics has become the number one art form of media. And that's awful, because politics is essentially a nonstop war for power. Why should we all only have like one vote unless you're in Chicago or I registered in 2 states. I got away with it.
Don't say that.
But we all have one vote, and that's the extent of our power. And yet the power of these power-hungry people, and honestly, yes, I picked a side. I didn't vote for Donald Trump. But the power of these people, we have no real power over them other than our one individual vote. And yet it seems out of proportion how much of our time and energy and capacity to love and, pay attention to what's important in our lives, that this literally hijacked because it was in the best interests of the tech companies who are at war to become the oligarchs who dominate the world. I'll leave that there and see what you think.
Is it because of the oligarchs' desire to control us? I'm sure that's a huge portion of what it is. Or have we literally, I hadn't thought about this until you, it's an excellent point. But the fact that one of our political parties is being led by a TV star, a barker, right, a huckster.
And the richest man in the world.
Don't even get me started on Musk. You talk about,
Yeah, I'll let you finish. I never used to do this, folks, but I'm going to let Spike finish first.
Trump brings no political, that's not true. He brings no governing acumen to the job. He does not know how government works, nor any curiosity to learn how government works. He understands what people he's transactional. What people can do for him, their needs will be serviced first at the feeding trough. I think it's played itself out in the first administration, it's going to play itself out in the second administration. He's surrounded himself by tech billionaires who are going to just wreak havoc, and this country's going to turn into an oligarchy before it turns into an authoritarian dictatorship. And I think we've taken the off-ramp to that. And I genuinely think
has this country ever been there before?
My dog found her squeaking toy. This is perfect. Yes, of course, I think so. Yeah, because those were the oil barons and the steel magnates, the steel magnates. All those people were. Yeah, of course, we were there. And then they put in antitrust laws and reeled those people in. And they realized that thank you, Ferris. We realized.
What's going on?
No, she's first off, it's just me and Ferris here, and she's been very good about my attention being somewhere else. But now she's getting tired of that crap, so she's going to play with her squeaky toy until I give her the attention. The only female in my life that is here today gets the attention that I have spoiled them with so lavishly over time. Anyway, yeah, we've been there before where we were an oligarchy, but we reeled it in for the greater good. And people like democratic socialists like FDR, who saw the value of the rising tide lifting all boats and all Americans. I think this current iteration of our governance doesn't care about that, let alone reflect that or value that at all. I really think that's the case. And the guy is the Trump anyway. Elon Musk scares the crap out of me. People are reveling in the fact that MSNBC is struggling all of a sudden because people have post-election hangover. and they play it into, that's what you get for lying to people. How come Fox didn't suffer from lying to people? They're the ones that paid. They didn't. They paid $750 million, and all their audience is still there.
Paying a fine. If you had to pay $750 million, that would suffer you.
None of the viewers went away. They didn't lose credibility.
No, nothing changed.
Yeah.
You've given me a lot. All right.
Yeah.
And I chew slowly now, even though I still have my what if, and again, I'm going to play what will to you seem like devil's advocate, but I'm promising you that I'm not thinking of it that way. We are part of the whole world.
Yeah.
And we tend to think it's all about the U.S. because when I go to a Seahawks game, I think it's all about the Seahawks. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed the game today, by the way. And this whole world right now is undergoing the most rapid technological change. It's going to make the internet look like, we built an abacus, okay? Mm-hmm. We're undergoing radical change now. That's a war. It's a Cold War at this point.
Agreed.
And these techies, Elon Musk, they all scare me, by the way. Everything scares me. I'm afraid of my own shadow. But there's a chance I might be more scared by someone else taking us over. I actually believe that Elon Musk wants to take over the planet. I think he wants to be the ruler of the planet. I think that Donald Trump proved himself in season one. I don't call it his first term. Season. Donald Trump, the presidency, to be incredibly skilled at being a reality TV show host. Remember Johnny Fairplay?
Not really. From Survivor, right?
Survivor, yes.
Yeah.
And they showed you that when they were stranded on an island, it was the asshole who would come out on top.
Right. Very Lord of the Flies. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. See, I didn't go for literature like you did there.
No, you brought us to reality TV, which everybody can understand.
And so, and this is going to sound like I'm willing to take a side. I'm not. I feel like the John Lennon song. I'm sitting here watching the wheels go round and round.
Yeah.
And I don't actually love to watch them turn. It's a little scary. But with the things that are being invented right now, and with the complete collapse of our old way of curating and doing things, it's collapsed. There's no, the fox is guarding the hen house. There's no one looking out for the little guy in civilization. And that's been a recurring problem. And it's human nature for the kinds of, what do you call them? The people who have an insatiable desire for power and think they're every narcissistic, dictatorial types. They're always going to be there. And there's a little bit of that even in the guy you think is your friendly, like Biden. There was a little of that in Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who could have stepped down. Power is addictive. I remember for a while I was the host of this big show, and my head was a little full of myself. And people like you noticed.
But it's a necessity. It's a necessity of being successful.
I was benevolent as I could be.
Yes, absolutely. No argument. As I sit in my beautiful home, I had no argument there.
All right. So as you look at the entire world now, and take a guy like Elon Musk, because he is frightening, but he's also done more to help the planet with global warming than any human being could have possibly done. Take a guy like Steve Jobs, who changed the entire course of civilization with the iPhone. Yeah. Take these guys, they are the rock stars of today. When we were younger, there were rock stars, people we looked up to and said, hope I die before I get old. And now we're like, they're still on tour. Yeah. So right now, what's the bigger danger? Some hyperbole, like when Trump says, I'm going to execute Liz Cheney. That's like, no, you're not. That's you trolling liberal media to take them off their game so that they go for your bait. I'll give you this. The night that Kamala Harris debated Trump, I went, she's got him because she's a prosecutor and he's on the witness stand. And as soon as I saw that happening, I went, they are not going to let him get up and debate her ever again.
Oh, no.
That's her job, is to take down guys like him. So instead, what did they do? They prosecuted her. They took a clip from her in The View saying she wouldn't do anything different from Biden. And they took a clip from her saying prisoners should have sex change operations at will and the taxpayers should pay for it. That's as efficient as it gets.
Oh, yeah. Those 2 moments that totally moved the needle. And
Yes.
and I'll give you the third strike that moved the needle, which is one of the reasons it's so personal to me. It's the $250 million in anti-trans ads they put out into every football game and NASCAR race in America. As the father of a trans child, the fear mongering. And I'm watching this week where Nancy Mace of South Carolina is making it a personal mission to make sure that one trans congressperson will never go into a ladies' room, painting them as a predator. Why else would she have any concern if they weren't a predator? So they play on these divisive fears.
With all love and compassion, which I have for everybody who is in a situation where there are prejudices against them and they are not treated kindly and fairly by people who, I want to believe that God just hasn't taught them yet. They don't know how stupid they are. Jesus said, "Forgive them, Father, they do not know what they do."
While they killed him. Yeah.
Yes, while they were killing him.
Yeah.
Hey, Jesus was good at letting it roll off his back. But let me get to the point here, which is
please.
I don't know what is going to be necessary for the United States, for us to do on the global stage to remain a dominant power. In fact, I'm not even sure I'm proud of how we have done it in my lifetime through various wars and proxy wars.
Right.
It would be one thing if we weren't hypocritical as a country. And it seems to me that these tech billionaires who have a certain kind of personality, which you can see in all sorts of great movies about Steve Jobs. Oh, watch the movie Super Pumped, the story of Uber, and how that CEO who started Uber plowed through. He did everything illegal and everything wrong and made it a monstrous company. YouTube, the biggest television channel, biggest narrative creator in the world right now, biggest TV station, started as a pirate station bought by Google, playing all uncopyrighted copyright infringement things. So there is a history. By the way, I believe there was a tea party in Boston. This is a long time ago. I don't know.
Yeah, you got to break. I guess you got to break a few rules.
Break a few eggs to make an omelet. Most big change comes about by breaking the rules, breaking laws even, and some of them come about by violent conflict. So, with the advent of AI, AI is just as much a weapon as a tool.
You got that right.
And so, I listen to these smart tech billionaire podcasts because I find it, first off, interesting to be a fly on the wall, listening to what it would be like to have that kind of power and money. What would I do with it? I just eat whatever I want and go wherever I don't think I control the world. But the people who can get that kind of power, they live to control. They live to be, to make the rules, break the rules, and the rules don't apply to them, which is why every time one of them gets charged with a crime, like Trump is a 37-count convicted sex offender, ho-hum,
I know, yeah.
The rules won't apply to him the way they would to you and me. So here's what I think, and I have taken a long time to get to my point.
Okay, it's a good closing message.
Yes, yes. Unless you interrupt me, and then it'll take me much longer. There is a chance that the people who are getting into power in the United States now may be what's needed to fend off China. And I know this is the old argument in the book, right? That we need them, or China's going to kick our ass. They're already doing it in electric cars, or maybe we cause North Korea to become more powerful by what we're doing now, or maybe it's necessary that we have some badasses in there to stop North Korea and Russia from uniting. I believe that there's a chance. I don't know that we're entering the most dangerous time in humanity's existence. Even though every 4 years, every political ad says that this is the year that that's happening, that this could actually be it. And there are some arguments being made by your conservative friends and my conservative friends that I have to at least allow for the possibility that there's some merit. Make sense?
It makes sense. I think it's a big risk to take for hoping that they are not just benevolent but wise. And from the clown car I see assembled ready to roll into DC, I'm not sure wise is the the common denominator for these people. I don't know. Maybe I'm just jaded. Who knows?
No, you're a good, loving guy who doesn't live like a narcissist. And neither you nor I could have been Steve Jobs, even if we thought of the iPhone. We wouldn't have been able to hurt the people it would be necessary to hurt to have invented it.
That's true. That's very true.
We wouldn't want to disrupt careers. We would want to preserve nostalgia. And so taking this point home, it seems a logical argument to me. This is not to say that I know what I'm talking about or that I agree, but it seems a logical argument to me that in 2024, all of our government agencies are run like it was 50 years ago and staffed like it was 50 years ago. And they're stamping papers with stamps and they're filling things out in triplicate. And is the worry that Elon Musk's going to go in there like he did at Twitter and fire 90% of the people and say, we broke it, now let's make do? I think that's exactly what the plan is. Is that going to be horrible? Certainly for the people it's horrible for. But could we keep going as a society that has like a little post office on every corner where you say, hey, Jake, how's it going today? Spike, I got a special delivery for you. It's in a mill package. I shook it. I think it's the online mushrooms you ordered. I don't know what it is. I don't know what you would order. But that would be my son, Andrew. But you know what I mean? Where everybody knows your name. Remember Cheers?
I do. I remember. Yeah.
We grew up living in neighborhoods and loving people and being friends. Did it matter your politics? Only a little. We laugh at it when we watched Archie Bunker, All in the Family. Politics came up a little bit, but it was kind of a play of, it was entertaining, and it had some of the same struggles we have now, but it wasn't the hyperbolic life or death. They're going to destroy you. Half the people in your country want to destroy what you believe in. I don't believe that. I believe that about 85% of us are all really good people, and the other 15% are scum. But that is our job as good people to try and make a good difference in their lives.
I appreciate that about you. Always have.
Hopefully that'll help you with your show host.
Yeah, I love the kid. Yeah, I love the kid.
I know you guys.
Yeah.
That was hyperbole.
I know. I would just add one little thing to your story, your tale of hope and dreams. When Musk trashed 90% of the people at Twitter, it turned into a cesspool, and 80% of the advertisers don't want to be anywhere near it. So I hope, and the people, the users are the ones who suffer, or the users.
I see it differently, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. When Musk took over Twitter, it ceased to be Twitter, a place that everybody could use, and it became programmed like he was the Murdochs owning Fox. And the week he took over, my friend Steve Stockman, who's a wonderful libtard like you, some of my dearest friends are libtards, he was like, they're destroying Twitter. How could he be so stupid? He's dropped the value from 40 billion to 20 billion. And I'm like, do you think he cares? To him, buying Twitter was like, I see a great lot with a nice view and a panoramic view of the Puget Sound, and it's got a house on it. The house is a teardown.
He built a manure farm.
No.
Yes.
I think that it's becoming very clear now, but I said it in week one. I love that when people do that, by the way. It's one of the skeeziest commentator things. I said this back when no one else said it, but I can't stop myself from doing it. Back then, I said to Steve, he wants to be Rupert Murdoch. He wants to control the media narrative, and he's going to program it specifically for conservatives. They don't know it yet. They think he's the evil electric car guy who's trying to destroy their gas-powered engines. But if it takes him a year, 2 years, 5 years, he will become the media mogul of tech. He also controls our military to some degree because he has all the sat phones we need to fight our proxy wars. He's already claimed Mars, like he was Christopher Columbus landing in the United States. Yeah, and so, and not all of that is terrible, because I suspect now there will be an MSNBC Twitter-ish thing that comes out for you. And there's been a couple of launches that have tried. What are the two? There's one.
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky is the new one. And then Threads, I think.
Threads was what Facebook tried to launch. Yeah.
Right. But Threads had no brand. Threads wasn't for a particular kind of. So in the early days, one radio station, I'm going to go back to radio. By the way, for anybody that's not aware, radio is the thing that Spike and I used to be involved in. It had transmitter towers. No, I'm kidding. There's still great radio out there, but much less. And you have to go to great talk stations, and you have to go, because the rest of it's just a jukebox trying to cash in on the way down. But anyway, I think that there's going to be a variety of outlets. I think they have to be regulated, but they're all fighting the same political battles that human beings have fought since Rome, since ancient Greece. A lot of the arguments are very similar, by the way. If you
they are.
Yeah. So anyway, so there's a part of me, and we'll end this and we'll talk about other stuff. But there's a part of me that is, and I know this might stick in your craw a little bit, but I'm rooting for Trump, because I see Trump as this, not a person I would like to know at all, but as a buffoon. I remember in years past, we would watch World Federation Wrestling, which is now the WWE.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And remember how huge it was?
Sure, of course. Of course.
Anyway, you know what you would say, and I remember you said it, it's all fake. The storylines are fake.
Yeah.
And those two people don't really hate each other, and the script is all set. The outcome is already predicted. And that's how the news feels today. We're talking about things that aren't actually the real world problems. And it's okay to lie as much as you can and say, I'm going to fix that for you. Here's how I'm going to fix it. To get elected, you never would maybe do anything about it afterwards, because if you fixed it, then you couldn't use it in the next campaign.
You're not wrong about that.
So I root, first off, Kennedy, he seems like a whack job, but if someone's going to actually stand up to Big Sugar, I call him Big Sugar, and
sorry,
and for the first time be honest about the number one way in which we kill Americans is with our food supply. That's a good thing. If organizations that are over bloated, boy, there's no way to under bloat them without killing the economy and killing jobs. And it would be tremendously unpopular, I think. But we're talking about the fact that it's not sustainable. Our debt is not sustainable. Our, all the programs we've promised people are not sustainable. And that's been the one thing we've done bipartisanly. It's just to go way into credit card debt and keep diving in deeper. There's not a party that says we shouldn't do that. And so those are the things, like if I were managing the household that is humanity, I would say we've got to fix these things.
Tighten our belts.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, but as long as I'm sorry about my dog.
As long as I can't smell him, I'm fine.
she's wonderful, but noisy and lonely now. Yeah, of course, changes need to be made. I'll grant you that one. But the people in charge don't seem to be caring about the people pulling the oars downstairs. When you cut off the food supply to the people pulling the oars, I don't know if the boat goes very far.
It's while we were talking, Mike McMorrow was tugging on my sleeve because we talk about AI and the revolution coming up. And he's a techie, as you'll see when you see him in his control room. Mike, you were saying a couple things to me about in the text about AI. Go ahead, spread it out there, how important you think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what really scares me the most about this is having like the richest man in the world or any of these super powerful people owning AI, basically, or controlling the algorithms of AI. I mean, look, you've got, like you were talking about Twitter, he reprogrammed Twitter for his own end purposes, I believe.
Agreed. To get him in the seat of power.
I keep trying to unfollow him, but it's always there.
Right. And I mean, it's obvious. I mean, he came in under the guise of like, oh, freedom of speech, and we're going to put everybody back on. Boy, you put him down, boom, you're out. So, it's pretty obvious. But here's the real scary thing. AI, the more that is going to be embedded in everything that we do. It's going to be embedded in cars. It's going to be embedded it's already embedded in our computers, our smart, hey, Google, hey, Alexa. I mean, AI now is going to be 360 degrees. And it's the rich and powerful that are going to control AI and that are going to control AI.
And are you worried that we're going to be like the Matrix and that we're basically going to be puppets on a string?
Pretty much. Or AI is collecting dissertation about just us talking tonight, of this, and it's collecting this and it's feeding into this AI, and then AI can be tweaked and programmed a little bit to so this person leans a little bit this way, well, let's, he wants to, drive his car over here. Well, maybe we're not going to let him. You know what I mean?
Why do the Teslas get all the green lights and I've caught every red light in the way?
Well, there you go. Right. So it really scares the hell out of me. Actually, I think we're screwed. Honestly, I think that, fight the power and no matter what. I mean, I don't care what side you're on. We all should be fighting that. And, regardless of our little policy beefs and all the smoke and mirrors that's being created over here on Twitter, or Trump's saying something outlandish, and we're all just worried about this shit that doesn't matter at all. I mean, when we talk about the trans community, huge supporter here. I think at Spike, you've got my unwavering support. 100%, but it's such a small minority of people that they scapegoat and bring up and bring. It's like the immigrants. It's I mean, I could go on and on and on, but really back to and people that know me know where I stand. But the AI thing is truly frightening. I mean, it really is. And I think it's,
So we've had II, intelligence, do those types of things to, like Martha Stewart, who I mentioned earlier. We've always had in our civilization politics where information doesn't have to be true, or it can have a grain of truth, and has the perspective of the viewer can be changed just by how it's spun and presented. AI takes that and takes it from campfire to nuclear reactor level. So yes, we're in danger of being controlled in ways we can't even imagine yet, and we already are. So I agree with that. I will say this, though. It's an amazing film we're in. And I don't know what your beliefs are spiritually, but we're in this incredible film. And right now, it looks a lot like World Federation Wrestling. And that, it's being run that way. But there's one thing that everybody wants is to make a profit and do well for themselves. And in order for that to happen, that's where civilization comes from. We have to cooperate with each other in order for that to happen. Otherwise, you have masters and slaves. And could slavery come back? It's an interesting dilemma. There is starting to be more discussion of the bigger picture among young people. And talking about my son Keith, my son Andrew, they aren't brought up with the things. What happened to the buggy whip in my stagecoach? Who moves my cheese? The things that people at our age are feeling, and this is just all new to them. There's another movie I have to recommend to you, because honestly, I learn more watching documentaries than I do watching the news. The news, and I'm not going to use the word fake, the news is a narrative. Documentary at least aspires to science. And there's a new documentary out. I think it's called Bye, Bye, Bye or something. It's about how we are programmed to purchase more products than we need, way more times than we need them, and how after products manufacturing are made, they are shipped overseas and wash up on the beaches. But even worse than that, and you've heard stories about this, but you've never seen a movie like this. Many companies destroy a large percentage of their output. One big example in this movie is Amazon. When you package up something and return it to Amazon, this movie shows it floating on a beach somewhere in the Indies, and because it was cheaper in the long run and more profitable to throw it away than it would be to return it to service. And there's a lot of reasons that could be, by the way. Some of it is brand. You don't want to offer a discounted version. You don't want to give it away to the homeless. Do you know how much food is thrown out after each holiday, after Halloween? I would expect to go down to my CVS and buy that candy for half price. It's gone. It goes to the dumpsters. And they even show in this movie, like steaks, prime rib, not only to put it in the dumpster, but they squirt stuff on it.
Bleach.
That makes it inedible. You've seen these stories.
Oh, yeah.
So the fact that, and this is a brand new movie, the fact that this is being made now for young people, this is your world. At some point, this is the hope I have in my heart, that young people, new generation, let's say under at least the age of 78, so we're not including us in adult cards, maybe under the age of 30, are going to grow up and demand that the world change, that we don't keep doing it the way we're doing it. And because it has to come from human beings, one-on-one, grassroots. The media is just a narrative, folks. And I don't care which media you're watching. Anyway, I was hoping to end on a happy note. Anybody
that was it. That was it. That was it. The children will save us. And not just by picking the right retirement home.
That's Perfect. Then that would be helpful too. All right. Good to see you, Michael. Thank you for all your help on our podcast.
Yeah.
And Matt in the background, thank you. Appreciate you so much. And Spike, it's been a while.
Too long.
I'm reasonably healthy right now, so I wanted this to be short. It ended up being a long discussion. I hope it was.
I want to congratulate you on fighting so hard and overcoming so many obstacles. I know gender reassignment surgery is not easy, but I'm an ally and I support your journey.
Well, would it be rude if I? No. If they reassigned my gender, they went through my back. Quite a large scar.
Ouch.
That's where the batteries go.
If you're with us this long, you're used to us and you'll understand. All right, everybody. God bless you. And so everybody who's out there listening on Facebook, leave a comment.
Yeah.
Just remember, this is, as people, we're supposed to be united. We're supposed to love each other. And yes, there's always going to be assholes in charge who want the power, and they're going to break the rules. And we just got to do the best we can. But the best things we can do are be nice to our neighbors, no matter what their political leanings are, and wish everybody well.
Do we ever need the holidays more than right now? Don't, like to quote Bill Maher this weekend, don't ruin the holidays, people. Yeah. Love your family, love your friends. And Google who put the stump in my rumpa bumpa bump. People have been sending that. And that is Spike and his daughter Ryan when she was, I think, 4 or 5 years old. Something like that, yeah. All right. Cheers. Be good, everybody. Have fun. Spike, I'm going to start listening to your show when I get back. Thank you. We'll work hard for you. Let me know if I can be of any help. Anytime you want. All right. Cheers. Cheers.